Taking photos of people are okay, but you take a photo of a stuffed animal panda in China airport, it's not okay. So, not wanting to irk anyone else, I wander over to the gift shop. And I meet this girl right here. She's one of the waitresses. And she starts talking to me in English. She says, "Well, what are you doing here?" I go, "Well, I'm here for the CICAF conference." "Oh, really? Well," and I explain, "Well, I work on Robotech," or as it's called in China, Taikong Ballet. She goes, "I love Taikong Ballet. I love that show. You work on it?" I go, "Yeah." "Oh my God." So I took out the computer, I gave her a whole presentation. I didn't have to say anything. She is the most hardcore Robotech fan I have ever seen. She could come over here and kick any fanboy's ass. I swear to God. She was just absolutely, "That's Min-Mei, that's Scott Bernard, that's Lisa Hayes, that's Rick Hunter. You know, is Min-Mei gonna ever come back in the Shadow Chronicles?" I mean, it was just like, she knew everything. And it was just like, anime, I bring this up because anime in China is in the mainstream of society like it is in Japan, unlike here where it's more of a niche market. And it was just interesting to see that too, and just see how just normal it was just to talk about Robotech and anime in such an open environment. So we board the flight back to Hong Kong, and we board the flight back to Los Angeles for 14 hours, and there you go. So that's anime in China. We have some time for some questions, about 10 or 12 minutes here. Sir, you have a question? Am I planning on going back again? I would love to go back, but it was interesting because it took me 2 years of work to set this up. Mostly because I had to wait for an opening airfare-wise to do it. Because doing the convention actually is quite expensive because it runs 8 days, it's far away. Hangzhou is not a major city in China in regards to air connections. So I was very lucky. What able to make this happen was, I did some research on it, the airfare prices all of a sudden just dropped for some reason, but I just went out and bought the ticket. I found out United Airlines began new flights from China, from Chicago, and added some capacity, and so all the other airlines responded by cutting their prices. But that all ended, because it all took, so it's like, it's really, and now remember, when this happened, oil was only at $80 a barrel. So now you look at it, I know it's still roughly the same, but the economy, it's so changed now. That's the big hurdle, because they're always asking me, "Kevin, when are you coming back?" Bella asked me, "Kevin, are you going to come back? I want to be your translator again." And that's what we're just waiting on. So, I would love to do it. I'd love to do the show again. It's, as you can see, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. But there you go. Yes, sir.
Yes, a yearly event in that place. Is it a yearly event?
It's a yearly event. They're on their 5th or 6th year now. I know they passed 500,000 people in the back.
Out of curiosity, how much do the tickets go for there?
The tickets to the convention?
Yes.
About $4. But what? $4. Wait a minute. $4 to a Chinese is a lot of money. That's like $85 here for Anime Expo. So it's cheap for a foreigner, but to them, one of the things the Chinese told me, they said, "Kevin, we love Robotech. We make the toys in China, but we Chinese can't afford them." Because an $80 toy, like using our NPC line for example, they can't. That's like a huge investment for a Chinese, the way their economy is structured. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like for a foreigner it's quite inexpensive, but for a Chinese it's like Anime Expo, or better yet, San Diego Comic-Con. I think it's probably better. Because with Comic-Con, those hotels, a day's in will cost you $200 a night. To them, it's like that type of expenditure to them. So, any other questions? You're going to walk out here. Yes, sir.
When you were there, what's your impression of the present from the U.S. production and the Japanese production? And with what you just commented about air travel, do you see the inward into the Chinese market is through licensing, through the local?
Okay, you got two great questions here, but I want to ask you that first question. What was my impression of what again?
Not Chinese production present in the convention.
What was my impression of the Chinese productions?
Not Chinese.
Oh, well, let's talk about the Chinese anime industry for a second. They are copying. They're spending billions. I am not kidding you, billions of dollars to copy the Japanese. They see the Japanese anime industry. They understand because of shows like Robotech. They see it, they're like, we can do that too. We should be doing that. So they're spending, I'm not kidding you, billions of dollars building an industry. It's a shocking expenditure. The actual productions that I saw, they just aren't, because the industry is just so young. They just aren't quite there yet. It was a shame too, because when they found out who I was, like Carmody Gold, Taikong Ballet, oh my God, we have to show you our China, we have to show you our stuff. Come on in, here's our projects, what do you think? Do you think this can come over to America? And it's like, you can see the potential. You see the potential. You see it, you say, my God, in a couple more years, they're gonna get it. They're really gonna come out there and probably make some really good stuff. They just aren't there yet, because it's like, you know, like when you're first starting out doing something, you gotta learn it. And they're learning that sort of thing. To give you an idea, when Kung Fu Panda came out, the Chinese were, the government and a lot of the industry were very upset because they said, that should have been us. Kung Fu Panda was a movie we should have made. Why were the Americans making the quintessential Chinese animated movie? That's how they sort of viewed it as. And it's like, you know, I explained to some of them, you know, it's like, the shows just aren't there yet. They're working on it, they're getting better, but they aren't quite there yet. Because it's just such a relatively new and young industry there. And what was your second question? I'm sorry.
Now, from what you're kind of saying is there's a little bit of barrier for the U.S. market to have a presence over there because of the air travel and the distance and so forth. Would the way to kind of break into the Chinese market is through licensing with local?
Well, that's how you have to do it. All the Japanese shows are there, but they're done through Chinese companies. Robotech is done through GDQH. So that's how you have to do it. They set up, that's how the Americans do it too, like Fox or Paramount. They set up Chinese companies and they release the films through there. When it comes to licensing, I'm going to sort of warp your question around a bit because you're touching on something I want to talk about, piracy. Yes, piracy is rampant in China, but a lot of people told me, the industry told me, they said, look, Kevin, you get Americans coming over here, they think, oh, well, we have 1 billion people, therefore they'll charge too much for the property. Therefore the property won't be bought, and then it makes it easy for the pirates to come in there and just steal it and sell it that way. A lot of people want to go legit. You'd be amazed how many people came up to me saying, look, I want to go legitimate, but these Americans keep charging too darn much for their stuff. You have to make things work in China, it's this. You sell it in bulk, not price point, not high prices. Yes, you can sell 1 billion people something, but you don't sell them 1 billion people at $10, you sell 1 billion people at 50 cents. Just to put an example of what they were discussing to me. That's how you make it work. Yes, 50 cents isn't a lot, but you know what? You're gonna sell so many more units, you'll make your money back. You'll even make more money than you would if you sold it at $10. That's how they're that's one of the things they wanted to convey to me. And that sort of surprised me too, because they said a lot of people, they said, even the Chinese, they said they want to buy this stuff legitimately. But if a pirate's offering it to you for $3 and the legitimate's offering it for $20, which one are you going to take? It's like, you know what, it's like the same thing here in North America. Why wait for my anime? I can get it off BitTorrent. See, and get it for free. So, guys, we have that same problem over here now too, you know. So, give you an idea of what's going on. Did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Bueller? Ah, you get that joke. Good, somebody does. Anyone else before we wrap it up? No? Well, folks, thank you very much. But before we go, I want to point out something. We have 2 other panels. One today, the Giant Robot Rumble over at the JW Marriott at 9 p.m. tonight. And tomorrow in this room,